Welcome to Focus on AM 980 KSGM and KSGM980.com. I'm Don Pritchard, and in the studio we have Sandra Holifield. She is a registered dental hygienist, and you probably saw those headlines about flossing. And actually they said that flossing doesn't do you any good because you don't need to do it anymore. And then no studies have shown that flossing helps prevent cavities. She's making ugly faces at me. Sandy, welcome to the program. You disagree with just about everything I just said, right?
Pretty much. But good morning.
Yeah. Okay. What's the problem with these recent news articles in other media? I have not repeated any of these articles, by the way, on the
because you would get in trouble.
Because I'd get in trouble. So basically, what's wrong with these articles? What's the real information that's being provided here?
Well, part of the issue, I believe, is that the titles of these articles are very misleading, and general public, I think, typically will read the title but not delve into the article to find out what it's really about. I think it's just a little bit of some possibly irresponsible journalism. But the gist of it is that that they're saying that there is no research to support flossing for your dental health, for cavities, that sort of thing. But if you actually open the article and read it, it says that there is no research for or against flossing, but that interdental cleaning is still important.
And interdental cleaning is cleaning between the teeth.
Yes.
And in many cases, those teeth are pretty tight.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what you're supposed to use to clean that if you don't use floss.
Well, in some cases, but this is typically pretty rare, that I recommend a little brush. We call it an interproximal brush, and there are many brands. But it's a very small brush. Picture a pipe cleaner on a little handle.
That's what I was exactly thinking of.
Yeah, it's about maybe 2 to 3 inches long, and you would move that in and out between your teeth in areas where you can actually fit it without having to force it through. And I believe that is where some issues might come up. People will possibly read that interdental brushes are good, better than flossing, and they're going to try to force those in between their teeth, and that can cause even more damage. So it does say in some of the articles that I saw that flossing is little value unless your teeth are too tight to fit anything but floss. And that, in my opinion, is about 80% of the patients that I see. Their teeth are just too tight to fit those brushes in. So those healthier patients, where they don't have the space for these interdental brushes, they're going to read the title and go, oh, I don't have to floss anymore, which is untrue.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And they're saying that these people who have their teeth tight together, like 80% of us.
That's my guess.
They should floss.
I believe so.
They should use floss if they want to clean in between their teeth.
Because what else is there? I mean,
rinsing.
Rinsing does not mechanically remove plaque. That's the issue with rinsing. We have other products that some are like water and air flossers, that sort of thing. And some of those are really effective in the event that you don't have moderate to severe periodontal disease. Mm-hmm. Which I think the statistics show that there's about 80% of Americans have some sort of periodontal disease. So I still firmly believe that you should always consult your dental professional in the event that you have questions about these types of articles and the types of products that you're supposed to use.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, flossing will only work up to a certain point. If you haven't flossed for 65 years...
Yes, let's take that for example.
and suddenly you start flossing, you've got plaque already built up there.
Yes.
That flossing will not remove.
And actually what happens is that plaque will harden over time and become what we call calculus or tartar, which you cannot remove with brushing and or flossing and or interdental brushes. It's basically stuck on your teeth pretty well, and it's below the gum line, and that's when you have to have your dental professional take that off for you and help you, in conjunction to what you do at home, bring your gum tissue back to health.
Okay. I wanted to say that because people might think, well, we're going to listen to Sandy and we're going to start flossing. But if you never flossed before, you've got a buildup of the calculus, as she said. And yeah, calculus in your teeth is just as hard as calculus in math.
Yes.
So if you struggled with calculus and math in class, well, just picture that in your teeth.
We're basically your math tutor.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, you have to see your dentist, and that's why they recommend having your teeth cleaned by a dental hygienist.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
you've got the tools to do the job.
We have the instruments and the education. The dental hygienists have to go to school. For myself, I went to school for 2 years of prerequisites, which included algebra and different anatomy, physiology, chemistry. We had, really hard courses, just like nurses take. And then we had 2 years of our dental hygiene program. So you can get a 2-year or a 4-year degree. But even with that 2-year degree, I had to go to school about 4 years. So and our education is scientifically based. So it's not just, I think this is a good idea. It's always researched.
And you have continuing education, too.
Absolutely, yes. We have to get 30 credits of continuing education in the state of Missouri.
So how often should you have your teeth cleaned?
Well, typically the healthy patient, we recommend every 6 months, but it takes about 3 months for the bacteria to build up to a level where the tissue has a hard time defending itself, basically. So in some of those cases, we recommend 3 to 4 months.
Now, I know how hard it was to get little kids to brush their teeth. How hard is it to get them to floss? Do they have the dexterity to do it?
Actually, parents should help their children brush and floss until about the age of 7 or 8. Flossing sometimes takes a little bit longer because it's a little more involved. So I would not set my children free until they're probably about 10, 11. That's just my opinion.
And that doesn't mean you go in the bathroom, wet the toothbrush, and put it back.
No, that is not brushing your teeth.
Would you believe? Yeah, okay. True confession time. All right, let's continue on. So children need to be basically helped, assisted. This is something that the parents need to work on. So parents have to have the knowledge. They have to know.
Right, and that's where they can rely on their dental professionals to help them with that too.
And a lot of people avoid the dentist. We talked about this before.
Right.
Adults usually don't, especially men, don't go see the dentist until it hurts.
Yeah, and that can be kind of detrimental.
Until they can't stand the pain anymore. And then all they want is the, pain medication.
Yeah, sometimes.
They don't really care about the tooth.
Sometimes, yeah.
Or they just say, yank that sucker out.
Right, yes, that happens often, yes.
So recapping, flossing, good or bad?
I think it's great for the people that benefit from it most, and that's up to your dental professional. You need to base that decision on them. I also wanted to add that the current guidelines right now recommend flossing once a day. They're reviewing that in January, so there haven't been any set in stone guidance from the U.S. Health Department and things like that here in the United States. And I also read some British articles that were saying the same thing about flossing. But again, I feel like the titles are very misleading.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. The headlines are designed to get you to read the article, but many people, as you said, scan the headlines and that's it.
Right.
And form an opinion based on that.
Right.
Alone.
And when you're dealing with flossing, which is a chore that people don't tend to like, as soon as they get that one thing that says, "Oh, I don't have to do that," they're jumping up and down for joy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do want to reiterate that just because there's no research for or against scientifically, I equate it to the car analogy.
Tell me that again, because you've mentioned that before we went on the air, and I thought that was so clever.
Well, if you take your car to the car wash and you wash the fronts and the backs and the tops, but you don't wash the sides, that doesn't quite make sense. So the same thing goes for your teeth. When you brush the fronts, the backs, the tops, but you don't get the sides because the brush doesn't fit. So that's where inner dental cleaning comes in. And for a lot of people, that is flossing.
Exactly, because they don't have the gaps between their teeth.
Exactly.
So which is normal, gaps or no gaps, or both?
It varies from patient to patient, but most healthy gum tissue is tight against the tooth. And the teeth are, if they're aligned correctly, they are pretty tight, and they should be. In some patients, they might have malocclusion where teeth are not aligned correctly, or missing teeth, that sort of thing. So you have those spaces where you can use brushes and that sort of thing. But healthy tissue is usually all the way up to like the crown portion of the tooth, which is what you see. The root surface should not show. And a lot of the times, if you have spaces in between your teeth, that's because the gum tissue has receded, and may or may not be healthy at that point.
All righty. Well, Sandra Holifield, thank you so much for coming by.
I really appreciate the opportunity.
And talking about this. Sandra Holifield is a registered dental hygienist, so she knows what she's talking about. So brush and floss. And that's our focus. Let's check the weather.